Incidentally, one of the recommended acts on the eve of Friday is the Ziyarah of Aba Abdillah al-Hussein salamullah alayhi. So, throughout the year, you'll find different occasions for the Ziyarah of Imam alayhi salam. Ashura and Arba'een and the month of Rajab and Sha'ban and Ramadan and Laylatul Qadr and Eid al-Fitr, Eid al-Adha and Arafah. And for all these occasions, there's some thawab also. Your sins will be forgiven. You'll be in the company of the Prophet. You'll be in the company of the Ma'asumeen alayhimus salam. Your rizq will be increased. Your health will be increased. Your life will be prolonged. You'll be protected from bala. Many thawab mentioned. But interesting, if you look at the thawab promise for ziyarah, for the eve of Thursday, it's remarkable. It's more in comparison to all these other occasions. The ziyarah of the eve of Friday. And incidentally, one of the surahs that Imam alayhi salam recited was Surah Kahf. If you recall, before I mention the recitation of Surah Kahf, you do recall that on the eve of Ashura, when Umar Sa'ad on the Asr of Tasu'a gives the order that begin the attack, Ya khaylallahi irkabi, O the army of God, he's addressing the Kufans against Imam Hussein. O the army of God, launch your attack. Imam Hussein alayhi salam sends Abbas and seeks respite for that night. That respite is for the purpose of dua and dhikr and Quran. Incidentally, according to some historians, Ashura was a Friday. That eve was the eve of Friday, which they asked for respite. And incidentally, amongst the ashab who were there, the 72 companions, there were many who were Quran teachers and reciters, Qurra of the Quran, Burayr bin Khudayr al-Hamdani, Hilal bin Nafi' al-Jamali, and others. Recitation of Quran, very important. Is one of the powerful motivators that trained the ashab of Imam alayhi salam, and that motivated them on that eve of Ashura. On the day of Ashura also, in the engagement and interaction that took place between the ashab, between Imam Hussein alayhi salam himself and the Kufan army, verses of the Quran are mentioned. And when the holy head is paraded in Kufa, one of the verses that Imam alayhi salam is heard to be recited is this ayah of Surah Kahf. The ayah number 9, which talks about Ashab al-Kahf. Am hasibta anna Ashab al-Kahfi wal-Raqim kanu min ayatina ajaba. O people of Kufa and other places where that holy head recited this ayah. You think the story of the companions of the cave was an astonishing, wonderful sign of God, that these few companions were made to sleep for 300 plus years and they were brought back to life? Here is a head which is talking after the massacre of Karbala. It's alive. You think that was an astonishing story? There's a more astonishing story that took place in Karbala. Those were a few companions. Here I had 72 companions. They're all alive. You think the story of Ashab Kahf is astonishing and wonderful? That they detached themselves from the world and they went and lived in the cave. I had 72 companions who gave up everything of the dunya for the sake of God. You think that story was astonishing? It's as if Imam Hussein alayhi salam is asking us that be ready to sacrifice. You want to know how much sacrifice I have done? Look at my son, Ali Akbar. There was nothing like that in the story of Ashab Kahf. Ali Akbar, who was the living personification and resemblance of the Holy Prophet of Islam. And he was a dear son, beloved son, whom I loved very much. And yet, Before I told him, he came to me to be ready to give up this dunya. There's no worth of this dunya if the result of that dunya is it is ready to kill a son like Ali Akbar. You are astonished by the story of Ashab Kahf? Let me tell you what happened to my young 6-month-old son. There was nobody here in the dunya left to see what the truth of the dunya is. And I cried out, هَلْ مِن نَاصِرٍ يَنصُرُنَا? Is there anyone amongst you ready to realize the total worthlessness of this dunya and come and prepare to meet your Lord and your akhirah? And nobody answered towards the end after the 72 companions but this little 6-month-old infant. You're looking for astonishing signs? My 6-month son. I took him before the army. I challenged their conscience. You want to kill me? Have some mercy on this innocent little infant. And they showed how the dunya can transmogrify the hearts of Muslims, of those who claim to be believers, and make them animals, merciless, ruthless, beasts who are ready to kill a 6-month-old child. Assalamu ala al-Husayn wa ala Ali ibn al-Husayn wa ala ashab al-Husayn jami'an wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.